Your teams.
Hell! It is Barner! It is Barner! And he's gone!
The Beavers are the national champions!
Brandon, a three-pointer out front. Hit it! Yes, he did!
His take.
Here's what I think.
Matt Bagley.
The league wants to look at measurables. They can say he throws the strongest, throws the fastest. They project a physical stud. I want to project a quarterback. I want a guy that knows his offense. Guys want to fight. They want to play. They want to scrap for him. I don't see that with Justin Herbert.
Talking local sports.
He's chill. He's quiet. Says the play real soft. And then doesn't run the play. Like, he'll throw to his first option. He'll find Dylan Mitchell. Well, now Dylan Mitchell's in the NFL, so good luck. Where are you going to throw the ball, Justin? I think we need to see him take that mental leap. All the physical stuff is there. Mentally, emotionally, not my number one overall pick.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.
It's Tuesday. It's 4 o'clock. You know what that means. Hey, everybody. Matt Bagley here with you. I've got Kevin Primerano in studio, Executive Director of the Rogue Valley Timbers. He's going to join me in a minute. Real quick, I want to preview tonight's show. I want to tell you, we're talking a bunch of college football. Ducks with a big game against Cal this weekend. Beavs trying to recover from a big loss. Talking high school football tonight. I think one of our local teams will play the biggest game in the state this Friday. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. And I've got some thoughts on the NL wildcard tonight. Brewers, Nats, green collar tomorrow. Baseball postseason. I love it. We're going to talk about that tonight. I want your thoughts on it. 541-630-4792. And I want you geared up and ready for a really unique guest. He is the Marshawn Enthusiast. That's right. They call him the Marshawn Enthusiast. Weirdest title I've ever heard anybody have at a blog. He is Rob Huang, and he writes at CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com, Cal Bears site. He's going to join me at 5:30. We'll break down Cal, Oregon this weekend. But as promised, I got Kevin Primerano, Rogue Valley Timbers, kicking off the show like he does every Tuesday. Kevin, how you doing, man?
Doing great, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing okay. You know, we got sunny weather. We got clear skies. I love that cool, crisp fall weather coming back. Did you notice that when you're practicing this week?
Yeah, it's been pretty pleasant. Last week we got opened up on Monday or Wednesday night. It came hard and heavy on us, and it's nice to have just some cool weather with some sunshine.
When you're coaching soccer, Kevin, does cold weather impact how you cover a game, how your players play?
You know, I think any kind of weather extremes has to change your approach a little bit. I mean, when it's cold and frosty or when it's rainy, the kid's focus isn't necessarily what it would be if it was 70 and sunny. The ball may react a little bit differently on the surface. The kid's energy, we may have to spend a little bit more time stretching and preventing injuries. So, yeah, I mean, the weather definitely changes our approach a little bit.
I can imagine stretching has changed a lot in your time as a coach.
It's kind of funny that you say that. Yeah, I mean, the old days of static stretching where you go down in the hurdler stretch and hold it for 10 seconds and then switch legs. That's kind of gone by the wayside. And, we spend a lot more time doing dynamic stretching, athletic-specific stretching. We do some lower extremity injury prevention programs in our warm-ups. And, it's much more science-based than it was at one point.
Chatting with Kevin Primerano from the Rogue Valley Timbers. He's their executive director, also gets to run a team and gets to have a lot of fun leading players and developing student athletes across the Rogue Valley. Kevin, I want to talk about some of the winter events that you're gearing up for and telling fans about right now, but also I just love picking your brain because I think that, I know that whenever you come in every Tuesday, you just have a psyche to you. You have this thing that tells me I'm a coach and I'm an administrator, and I can never shake that from Kevin Primerano, the person. I just can't picture you sitting on your couch watching Penn State football on Saturday. Walk me through, when did that button click of Kevin the coach versus Kevin the fan?
I kind of fell into it. I wrestled in high school, and as I was going through college, they needed some help with the junior high wrestling program, and I jumped in there, and I really enjoyed working with kids. And then along the way, there was a local high school that needed a soccer coach, and I threw my hat in the ring and haven't looked back. I've been consumed with it ever since. And,
Yeah.
Gone through a litany of coaching education and seminars and worked at all various levels throughout the country here. And I wake up every morning and I'm still a coach.
We've been doing this for almost a year now, and I don't think I've ever asked you how you started in Medford.
Funny story. I was working with Major League Soccer as a consultant down in the Bay Area out of the San Jose Earthquakes office, and I met my wife there. I went back to the East Coast and worked for Major League Soccer team for several years, and as we decided what was next for us, I couldn't trade the views of the mountains and the valleys and the trees for the skyline of New York City. I had this captured my heart.
Hey, I don't blame you. This is not the concrete jungle.
No, not at all. Probably added some years to my life as well.
Now you piqued my interest. I didn't know. I mean, I should have guessed MLS background. What did you do with MLS?
I started out selling tickets and ticket packages for a very short time, and then I ended up being in charge of getting their player development system together with their was the Metro Stars at the time. New York, New Jersey Metro Stars are now Red Bull New York.
Right.
So I launched their academy teams and youth development system.
Yeah, they had some pretty good players come through there.
We have. Yeah, they have. I'm a Timber now, so they have.
Right.
Yeah, they still have a fantastic youth system, and it's grown, and it's grown across the league. That was 15 years ago, and it's really fun to sit back and watch and see kind of, being involved in the early days and now seeing what it's grown to today. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I remember. I'm a geek for this kind of stuff. I remember as a little kid reading about it on blogs of the saplings of where the game has grown now and what they've accomplished. You haven't really seen so much at the upper levels. MLS still kind of in the middle of the world, but you've seen a lot of growth of the game at the lower levels, and Kevin Primerano's at the forefront of that. He's the executive director of the Rogue Valley Timbers. Let's talk about your winter initiative that you're real excited about.
Yeah, I mean, what we launched today was the registration site for our Winter Skills Camp. It's a 9-session program every Monday and Wednesday, with the exception of the Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving, from November 18th to December 18th. We have some of our top coaches working in that program. Just really, again, as we always do, focused on individual skill development, getting better at trapping the ball and passing the ball and shooting the ball. And I don't think that we can work too much on those things.
Yeah. Hey, you talk about growth and working on those vital soccer skills. In your time in the Valley, what's been the biggest growth that you've seen from players locally?
Man, our ability to compete on a more regional level has really exploded. And I actually was saying to my wife, I was down doing some camps this summer, and it was awe-inspiring to me to see the number of college kids that we have out there playing college soccer, doing their preseason workouts down at US Cellular. And I need to do a better job keeping track of how many we have out there. But I was like, oh my Lord, I didn't see this 10 or 12 years ago.
No.
We had a few, and now it's just, I think the kids are getting exposed in different ways. I think our programs have continued to improve, and our emphasis on that process, as we've talked about, is pretty dialed in. So that's been pretty extraordinary to watch.
Rogue Valley Timbers, check them out on Facebook, Rogue Valley Timbers Soccer Club. Same on Twitter, Rogue Valley Timbers Soccer Club. You search for it, you'll see it. It's right there. And rvsoccer.com, Rogue Valley Timbers. Kevin Primerano is their executive director. Kevin, is there anything else you want to mention for the listener right now driving in their car thinking this might be good for little Johnny or little Sally?
I'm going to come prepared next week to give maybe a few tips to little Johnny or Sally. The biggest thing for me right now that I'm trying to get out to the kids, though, is our core values. And how about we talk about a little bit about accountability? Maybe little Johnny or Sally might want to learn about accountability.
Ooh.
What it means to be accountable for your actions, accountable to your teammates, accountable to your teachers, and that's a big initiative that we have right now.
I love it.
Yeah.
Accountability builds leaders. Kevin Primorano, Rogue Valley Timbers. That's what he's trying to do with young men and women all across the Rogue Valley. Kevin, really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Matt. Have a great week.
All right. NFL, let's get right to the meat here. I think this is the big takeaway from the weekend. The Vikings have a quarterback problem. There's a lot that we can learn from that. I'll dive into it next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.
This is a cow whose milk became everyone's favorite cheese at the craft fair. But cheese only lasts so long. The impression a small business makes needs to last much longer. And now Vistaprint is introducing free shipping on all business cards in any quantity. Choose from hundreds of fresh designs tailored to your type of company, or upload your own. The choice is yours. The time is now. For limited time only, get free shipping on all business cards in any quantity with promo code 9393. That's promo code 9393 at Vistaprint.com. Vistaprint. Own the now.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to, are you? Kids, work, listening to the radio. You're busy, which is great because busy people can't get prediabetes. Oh my, I read that wrong. They can. Should have worn my glasses. So visit doihaveprediabetes.org and take a short test, because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Stay up late with Amy Lawrence.
New Orleans is buzzing. Whether it's the Big Easy that you call it, the Crescent City, whether you go with NOLA, the city that hosts Mardi Gras, the home of Tulane, whatever it is, now it is Zion Zoo. And it was a zoo as he was introduced to Pelicans fans and media from all over the region.
11 at night, overnight on 96.1 580 The Game.
I perform for our high school choir director, who taught me to breathe from the diaphragm and sing from the heart.
Speech, debate, theater, music. The performing arts teach valuable life lessons that typically aren't taught in the classroom. They help high school students learn leadership skills that prepare them to enjoy more satisfying, productive lives.
Hey, I've got a question for you. Who will you perform for?
This message presented by the Oregon School Activities Association and the high school in your community.
Morning Mayhem with Taz and the Moose.
Hall of Famer Frank Thomas, the hit dog Mo Vaughn, both join us in studio now. Your opinion, the way the game is moving on, like evolving now, baseball itself, your thoughts?
It's not as funny. And the game has gone to more strikeouts than home runs. I'm a little disappointed because I wish they would get back to getting guys that know how to hit. It's just a different game.
Weekday mornings from 3 to 6 on 96.1 580 The Game.
When you're selling your gun online, your potential buyers might sound safe, but does that mean they really are?
Hi, seller. I'm interested in the 9mm you posted.
I'd love to get my hands on a gun.
In such good condition. Let me know if it's still available.
And we can set up a time to meet.
An email can't tell you what a licensed dealer can. Sell through a licensed dealer to make sure the buyer checks out. Go to ncpc.org to find out how to sell with certainty. Brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The
Game. Is it regional? No. But I think this is relevant. Kirk Cousins is problematic. All right, all the sports radio shows are talking about this. The Vikings have no answer at the quarterback position, and I've got some thoughts on it. I really think this about Cousins. Is he a franchise quarterback? Like, is he ever going to be a top 5 guy? Your Brady's, your Breezes, your Mannings, your Roethlisberger? No, he's never going to be that guy. That's just not in his DNA. But is he the worst quarterback in football? Is he worse than Luke Allen in Carolina? And I get that Luke Allen's pretty good. Luke Allen is still an unknown. Is he worse than Josh Allen in Buffalo? Is he worse than Andy Dalton, is he worse than Derek Carr and my Raiders? I don't think so. I think Kirk Cousins is a pretty decent quarterback. The problem isn't his performance. It's not that he's supposed to be the greatest quarterback in football and he's terrible. The problem is that he's paid like he's the best quarterback in football. It's not that Vikings fans or that the critics, Colin Cowherd today on his show or Jim Rome today on the show, it's not that they have a problem with Kirk Cousins, the player. It's Kirk Cousins, the price tag, $84 million. I think that's the real issue for the Vikings. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. If you were in charge of an NFL team and you had $30 million to spend in free agency on anybody, could be Tom Brady, could be Drew Brees, could be Kirk Cousins, or it could be anyone else. A wide receiver, a lineman, a defensive lineman, a corner, a kicker, for crying out loud. How do you spend that money? Do you buy the best possible player, or do you buy 5 decent guys? They're not great. They're not world class, but they got strength in numbers. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. How would you spend that money? How would you build that team? I think that's the real problem in Minnesota. They didn't build that team right. They gave Kirk Cousins all this money, and they gave Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs all this money, and then they don't use them. Like, I used the analogy yesterday of a cook and a baker, right? We want all of our quarterbacks to be bakers. We want all of our quarterbacks to be precise and have their timing right, and have the feel of the game and have the wherewithal. You're going to have the oven turned to a certain temperature for a certain amount of time, and you're going to hit on everything exactly, and you're going to stay in schedule, right? Like a baker. We want our quarterbacks to be precise like a baker is precise. But a lot of quarterbacks are cooks. Cooking is not precise. Cooking is an art form. Cooking is chaos. Cooking is recovering when you don't have the right ingredient, so you improvise. Or you don't have the right oven. It's a gas burner instead of an electric, or flip it around. It's an electric instead of a gas. Or you've got to broil instead of grill. Or you've got to microwave something, for crying out loud. Cooks improvise. Bakers don't improvise. Bakers have to stay on schedule. We want bakers. Sometimes we have cooks, and that's okay. Turn this analogy around. The Vikings paid for a 5-star chef and paid for fine knives and paid for the sweetest set of awesome, incredible cookware, pots and pans and everything to get everything just perfectly right. And they got the best ingredients on the planet, and they're making grilled cheese sandwiches, or they're making spam musubis or spam sandwiches, and they're just absolutely wasting the talents they've paid for. You pay $84 million to Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, and you don't build an offense around them. And then you complain when Kirk Cousins can't run your offense. I don't think he's the problem. I think it runs deeper there in Minnesota. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. What's your read on that situation? I think this is a teaching opportunity for a lot of college football teams. We see this at Oregon State right now, especially, where the Beavers are built one way. They have invested time. Because, remember, in college football, at least outside of California, you don't invest money in players. You invest time in players. You don't have a salary cap, but you do have a time cap, all the hours that you can spend recruiting guys. And the Beavers have spent that on the backfield. Jamar Jefferson, Artavis Pierce, they've spent that on the offensive line. They've got a loaded offensive line full of experience, and they've spent all their energy on building this smash-mouth running game, but they don't use it. Jamar Jefferson had 4 carries on Saturday. I know Artavis had a big game, but not in the first quarter, not in the second quarter. They gave it to him eventually, but it took them 2 quarters, and it took them a deficit. And if they give it to Artavis and they run the rock at the start of that game, I think they beat Stanford. There's a lot of teams in football that are misusing what they pay for. And we see that in the NFL, and we see that in Corvallis, and we also see it in the high school game. I think we see it in what might be the game of the state this year. I want to talk about that in this segment, 541-630-4792. Text me your thoughts. I think the single biggest game in Oregon this weekend is in Eugene Friday night. And I'm biased because I get to be there. And you're going to roll your eyes and go, oh, Matt, here you go, just parading and telling us that you're the best and you're the greatest. But really, I am. And really, this show, this station, is going to be a lot of fun on Friday night. North Medford Sheldon. Game of the state, folks. You have a North Medford team that is unbeaten, and you have a Sheldon team that I don't know what they are this year. 1 win, blown out their first 3 weeks. A Sheldon team that in years past was a litmus test for everyone else in the state. If you were good and you weren't in Portland, if you were in Bend, or you were in Klamath Falls, or you were in Lakeview, or you were on the coast, or you were here in Medford, and you were good, you were held up against Sheldon. Are you better than Sheldon? They were the litmus test for everybody. And now they've gone through coaching changes, and they've gone through administrative changes. They've gone through a lot of graduations, players transferring, players leaving. I don't know what they are anymore. But I know that they were a litmus test. And I'm going to give them the benefit of a doubt that they are still a litmus test. I think that is the biggest game in the state. And you talk about misusing talent. I wonder about Sheldon. I wonder, the question is, do they still have talent? And if they do, are they misusing it? Are they making the most of it? 541-630-4792. I can't wait for that game. We're going to air it Friday night, 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock kick. I want to hear from you. Do you think that's the biggest game in the state? North Medford Sheldon Friday night. If so, why? And if not, tell me what is the biggest game in the state. 541-630-4792. I want to spend a moment telling you about my plans for the show tonight. A lot of college football, Ducks, Beavs, a lot of NFL, a lot of baseball, NL wild card tonight. We're going to talk about that a little later on the show. And Rob Huang from CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com and the Bearcast. That's a Cal Bears site and Cal Bears podcast. He's going to join me at 5:30, and I think you might know what we're going to talk about. Cal Oregon on Saturday. I can't wait for that game. We're going to talk about that at 5:30. I can't wait for that. NFL, college football, Ducks, Beavs, you know all that's on the way here. This is what we do, Southern Oregon Sports Talk. I was really disappointed in Oregon State. I think the Beavers gave up the most winnable game of their year. And I'll tell you why next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580, The Game.
Well, you know it's Orley Stove and Spas we both recommend. Now I told you where, let us tell you why. You ought to stop and see our friend.
Fall has arrived, and forecasters say it looks like an extra cold and wet winter this year. Now's the time to get into Orley's and beat the winter rush. Come in and see the newest models of hybrid wood stoves. Check out the new Lopi Rockport's revolutionary patented Green Start ignition option, only for Lopi wood-burning stoves and inserts. Starting a fire in your wood stove can now be as simple as pushing a button. Come in and discover the warmth and charm of the new Lopi line. Looking for gas? Lopi and Fireplace Extraordinaire have you covered. Gas models that heat up to 3,000 square feet. Whether you need a freestanding wood, gas, or pellet stove, a fireplace, or an insert, stay warm and comfortable this winter without those high heating bills. Orly's has over 80 models of stoves, inserts, and fireplaces on display at the corner of Delta Waters and Crater Lake Highway. Stop in and save. Receive a free ton of pellets with the purchase of any new Lopi pellet stove. Offer ends October 31st.
Mothership Madness in the morning with GA.
The NFC North has to play the NFC East and the AFC West. So they were all going to get the Cowboys, Eagles, the Giants, and Washington. So they'll all get the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Packers, the Vikings, the Bears, and the Lions. All have difficult runs in their schedule because of those opponents when they play other divisions.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9 on 96.1, 580 The Game.
It's me, your heart. High blood pressure is serious, and if you think I'm just going to keep ticking away, you're wrong. I can quit whenever I want, but I like my job. Just treat me better. Maybe we can do some exercise on occasion? After all, we're in this together.
Don't let your heart quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Jim Rome's got opinions.
The question should not be, did you see Jalen Hurts? But rather, did you forget about Jalen Hurts? Because it feels like a lot of people did. I'm not saying give Hurts the Heisman. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is give it to his coach, Lincoln Riley, and he can give it to whoever he wants. Because right now, if you're the starting quarterback in Norman under Riley, you're winning the Heisman Trophy.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon on 96.1, 580 The Game.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Oregon, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who play high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Oregon School Activities Association and the Oregon Athletic Directors Association.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1, 580 The Game.
I was really disappointed in Oregon State. I told you all week, Beavers are going to win. Beavers are going to run the rock. Beavers are going to smash Stanford. They're more physical than Stanford. And all that was true, and they lose to Stanford. I was so disappointed in that. I want to talk about that this segment. Also, I'm disappointed in the Pac-12 because this Oregon-Cal game this weekend is going to be a lot of fun, but it could have been bigger. I think the Pac-12 has this problem right now. You can't get Pac-12 Network on any TV. Joey Mack, voice of the Ducks, we chatted about this off air yesterday. He might get mad at me for saying this. We talked about how it was easier when we were kids growing up in the West Coast. It was easier to catch Duck games on Oregon Sports Network. Do you remember that? The local TV affiliates. I think Channel 12 used to have the rights here. I think KEZI had them in Eugene years ago. It was easier to catch Duck games on your local TV station when they did Oregon Sports Network. And they had to send the video out to 30 TV stations all across the West Coast. Easier then than it is now when they just send it to Pac-12 Network. And nobody has Pac-12 Network, and you can't find it. I think the league has a fame problem. These games just aren't famous. They're not big enough. And I think the Pac-12 lost a golden opportunity this weekend because you have a Cal team, if they had beaten Arizona State, they would have been top 20 in the polls. They would have been unbeaten. Then you have the narrative of Justin Wilcox as the prodigal son returning home, Oregon assistant, getting his shot elsewhere, making the most of it, coming back to Eugene. Now all those narratives are out of the window. Bears are in a hole in the Pac-12 North, looking up at Oregon. The Ducks are without equal in the conference, so they can only lose. If they beat Cal, well, great. They're supposed to beat Cal. And if they lose, well, there goes the only good team in the Pac-12, right? There goes the playoff. It's ridiculous for the Pac-12. It's crazy to me that the conference has no marquee team. And at this point, I'm biased. I'm a member of the media. I have said before, my interest is watching a team from the Pac-12 in the college football playoff. I just want to see the Ducks make it through these next 2 weeks unscathed. You make it through these next 2 weeks. You got Cal, then you got Colorado, and that's a Friday night game. That's going to be weird. It's going to be crazy. Friday night game, high school football, and they're booting it off, and they're doing their Pac-12 after dark. If the Ducks make it through these next 2 weeks unscathed, I'm going to feel a lot better, because that's when the season starts for me. 2 weeks from now, you got to go to Seattle. You got to play Washington. Then you got to play Wazoo. I know that they're having a down year. The Pirate, Mike Leach, always brings his best for Oregon. You got to win that game. You got to beat him somehow. And then you got to play USC. That 3-week stretch doesn't start till we hit real October. Well, October 1st doesn't count. Doesn't start till Seattle in 2.5 weeks. And when we get there, all bets are off about the Ducks. But if they make it through unscathed, they have a shot. They got to win this game against Cal. Then they got to beat Colorado. They got to make it through unscathed. They are supposed to win these games, and anything less will tank their season. No playoff, and you might lose your morale heading into that 3-week stretch. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. Text me. Tell me your thoughts on the world of sports. Let's talk about baseball. Nats, Brewers in the wild card tonight. Who do you like? Why? Let's talk Beavs. Were you disappointed Saturday? Or were you optimistic after that? Like, this is the angle for Oregon State that doesn't get mentioned. Literally no one expected this team to be good this year. And I mean no one. Like, I am friends with Bob Lundeberg, who writes about the Beavers in the Oregonian. I am friends with Brendan Slaughter, who writes about the Beavers at Beaver's Edge. I am friends with Joe Londergan, who writes about the Beavers at Building the Dam. Those guys are Beaver fans. They are writers, but they're fans. They're Beaver fans. And they didn't think Oregon State would be any good this year. And Beaver fan, I heard from you. Some of you took our free tickets to go see Cal Poly. We gave you free tickets. We offered free tickets 2 weeks ago to see a Beaver home game. Some of you took us up on that. A lot of you didn't. And those that did, those that went to Corvallis and watched the Beavs whip on Cal Poly, you weren't a big crowd. I had one source tell me 10,000 people were in the stands. That's pathetic. That's embarrassing. But it tells me that even Oregon State fans didn't think Oregon State would be any good this year. So it makes me wonder, you don't beat Stanford, but you come back and tie Stanford. Is that a moral victory? Do you hang your head high after that game? Do you pat yourself on the back after that game? Is that a good game for Oregon State? Let me know. 541-630-4792. I don't think so. But I'm not a Beaver fan. I can't answer for you. 541-630-4792. Let's talk NFL. I promised I would get into the wild card tonight, talk about that. And it's tough for me because, I'll be honest, it's not that I don't like baseball. I love baseball. I love going to games. I love being in the stands at games and soaking in that experience. It's the best experience in sports. Live baseball at a baseball park, infinitely better than TV and infinitely better than a live experience of any other sport anywhere in the world. I will go to my grave believing that. but I don't have the patience to follow 162 games. If I can't be there in the stands for 162 games and I have to watch these games on TV, which is a snore fest, or I have to read about these games from some curmudgeon in the local paper, I am tuning out. I just don't have the patience for it. Honestly, I had a coworker ask me today, hey, who do you like in the wild card tonight? And I'm like, there's a wild card tonight? I'm not a Brewer fan. I'm not a Nats fan. Maybe you are. Maybe you see that a little differently. I want to hear from you. If there is one angle that I am fascinated by tonight, just as a baseball fan, and again, I'm not a diehard baseball fan, but I do enjoy watching playoff games, and I enjoy being at games. If it's close in the 7th, 8th, 9th innings, I want to see that Nats bullpen, because I've heard so many horror stories. All the baseball diehards, all the people that are plugged in, they tell me, that bullpen is nightmares. That bullpen is terrible. That bullpen's going to fall apart. And maybe it will. Maybe it won't, right? It's fun to see. Nothing like that experience at a live game, too. When you get the pitching changes and you have that tension in the air, nothing beats that. I want to see TV try to capture that tonight. I believe 5 o'clock first pitch. I could be wrong. Nats Brewers. I know I got my baseball diehards listening right now. I can think of one name in particular that he is chomping at the bit. Or maybe not. I mean, I think he's a Braves fan, so maybe he doesn't care that much. I name off my one baseball diehard. I know I got like 4 others. I got some A's fans. I'm in the same boat as you guys. I'm probably more excited about the game tomorrow, or maybe not, considering what the A's have done in the last few years. But it's exciting to think about what might be, right? Baseball postseason. Let's take this angle with it. I had a friend that listens to the show. Last year, they told me the only time they ever listened to play-by-play on the radio, which is a crazy statement if you think about it, because you can listen to Raider games on our competitor. You can listen to all the stuff that we do, Seahawks games, 49er games on KBOY. You can listen to college football. You can listen to the Ducks. You can listen to the Beavs. You can listen to high school football. North Medford, South Medford. There's a station in Grants Pass that does their games. There's a station in Roseburg that does their games. There's a lot of options out there if you want to listen to sports on the radio. And a good friend of mine who listens to the show said, Matt, the only sports play-by-play that I listen to is playoff baseball. He goes out with a buddy, and they go camping, and they bring a transistor radio, and they listen to playoff baseball. And it blew me away. But maybe he was onto something. Maybe there's something about baseball that just sucks you in the playoffs. How much playoff baseball are you going to watch? Let me know. How much playoff baseball are you going to listen to? And how does playoff baseball change you as a fan? Does it change what you watch? Does it change what you listen to? Does it change your schedule? Change how you live your life day by day? Let me know. 541-630-4792. Let's talk about that. And I've got a question for Beaver fans. If you were Scott Barnes, Oregon State AD, and let's say you had a big budget, and let's say you had carte blanche. Now, you don't have to be an expert in language. I'll tell you what that means. Let's say you had all the power to change Oregon State and fix what ails Oregon State. How would you do it? Let's talk about that. Text me your thoughts, 541-630-4792. And let's visit that question next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW. Right here. 96.1 FM, 580 AM, The Game.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
This team made a move in March that I hated. They have a bad O-line, and they traded away their second-best offensive lineman to get Olivier Vernon. And Baker yesterday was under constant duress. And Baker's not that athletic, and he's not very big. And the good teams like the Chargers that faced him last year figured him out. Bull rush him, hands up.
Colin Cowherd.
Weekdays at noon on 96.1 580 The Game.
Sometimes, when a problem needs our attention, we get a warning. Would you recognize the signal if your heart was sending you an alert? I'm Marcy, and I have atrial fibrillation. That means I'm at 5 times greater risk for stroke. Some people don't even know they have AFib until they have a stroke. Talk to your doctor about your risk for AFib and stroke. Treatment saves lives.
Visit heart.org/AFib awareness. Brought to you by the American Heart Association.
Your home for the South Medford Panthers.
South, 3rd and 22. Tunnel with a shotgun snap. Rolls to the left. Priors to the left. Has Boster wide open.
From summer camp to the state championship.
Easy touchdown catch. How did he break free? Touchdown, South Medford.
Friday night, South Medford battles McNary on News Media 99.5 FM, 880 AM.
We love our sports here in the Rogue Valley.
And it's our responsibility to keep them great.
And we need you to know your role.
You can be a player.
You can be a coach.
You can be a spectator.
Or an official.
But you only get to be one. Know your role.
Parents, release your kid to the game.
It's my experience.
Don't yell at the refs. They have a hard job.
Know your role.
Players, respect your opponents.
Love to play, win or lose.
Know your role.
Beaver Nation.
Down 28-14, second and goal at the 1. Coletto gives to BJ, breaks a tackle in the backfield, heads to the pylon and gets in. Touchdown Beavers.
Here, Oregon State football.
The Beavers do go quickly, trying to get the game even. Handoff to Pierce, stop, backpedals his way. Touchdown Beavers! Artavis Pierce.
Saturday night on 96.1 580 The Game.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it, and you can hear it repeatedly without feeling anything. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural or inborn response from you. Save the food, because 40% of all food in the US never gets eaten. Save the food. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
My question for college football fans, a hypothetical. You are in charge of Oregon State athletics. Essentially, you're Scott Barnes in this hypothetical. You are the AD at Oregon State, and you have the money and you have the final say to fix Oregon State football. How do you do it? How do you do it? What do you do? What do you propose? Tell me. 541-630-4792. Text your take. I'll read it on the air. I want to hear from you. I want to know, do you build a new stadium? Do you get a new coaching staff? Do you build a new weight room? What do you do? What can you do? I think there's a couple things that irk me with that line of thinking. One is, I don't know how much is outside of Scott Barnes' control. Meaning, when Jonathan Smith got hired, was that Scott Barnes' decision? Did Scott Barnes seriously decide that the best football coach for the job was a guy that had never been a head coach before? The best football coach for the job was a guy that was young and didn't have a lot of experience as a high-ranking assistant, had never been a head coach, had only barely ever been in the Pac-12. That was the best coach for the job? I can't buy that. I think that hire was Ed Ray, president of Oregon State. I think that hire was boosters saying, let's go get an alum, let's go get a legend at Oregon State and make him into a head coach. I don't think that was Scott Barnes. I think he made the best with what he had, and I still don't know if Jonathan Smith is the right guy for that job. I'm not knocking him. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a great personality. Is he a D1 college football coach in the Pac-12 ready to contend for a Pac-12 title? No! And I don't know if he can ever get there. I really don't. I just don't see it. Maybe you see it differently. The other part of that question that I chew on and wonder about, is money the problem in Oregon State? Like, it's easy for Beaver fans to point and wave at the other guy in Eugene and say, oh, Uncle Phil gives the Ducks all this money. Money, money, money. And they got the Nike money, and they got the Nike facilities. But is that really the only difference between Oregon and Oregon State? Have you ever been to Corvallis? You ever been to Eugene? For one, you got the I-5 corridor. It's easy to get to Eugene. It's easy to leave Eugene. Easy for recruits to go visit. Corvallis is out of the way. And two, I've brought this point up 100 times before, but I'm going to say it again. Corvallis is a great little town. I enjoy going there. I'm 27 years old. My fiance is 27. We love going on a date night at a winery in Corvallis, or going on a date night at some hippie artisanal pizza place in Corvallis where it's $20 for a thin, paper-thin pizza crust. We love that. We're all about that life. I don't think 18-year-old kids are. I don't think 18-year-old kids, some of the best high school football players in the country from L.A. and the Bay Area and Florida, are all about that life. I don't think Corvallis is for them. And I don't think there's any amount of money or any decision Oregon State can make, really. Anything within Scott Barnes' power, anything with Jonathan Smith's power, that I think can change that. And so I think if you're going to fix Oregon State as a program, you have to start with the assumption that you can't recruit the best players in the country. You just can't. And money's not going to change that. New facilities aren't going to change that. You're just not getting those kids to live in Corvallis for 4 years. You have to start somewhere else. Where is it? What do you do? Let me know. 541-630-4792. Talking baseball tonight, wild card tonight. Who do you like? Text me. Tell me what you think. Also, wrapping up hour one, I brought this up with the Pac-12 earlier. I think that it's a good conference. I think that when Cal beats Ole Miss, when Oregon hangs with Auburn on national TV, when Stanford beats Northwestern, and you pick up all these non-conference wins against other Power 5 schools, I think that's really good for the Pac-12. And I think it shows the Pac-12 is a better conference than the nation might think. But to me, the biggest problem with the Pac-12 is there's no fear. You respect Stanford when they beat Northwestern. You respect Cal when they beat Ole Miss. The SEC doesn't fear anybody. The Big Ten doesn't fear anybody in the Pac-12. Washington comes to town. Ohio State knows they're going to beat them in a big game. USC goes to town. Alabama knows they're going to rout them. Texas knows they're going to trounce them. There's no fear in the Pac-12. There's no team that you point at and say, we are afraid of those guys. They are going to blow us out. You can't even say that about Oregon because, remember, the one opportunity, the one test they have to show the world, fear the Ducks. They choke on national TV. Had a big lead, wipe it away, and Justin Herbert chucks a Hail Mary pass 10 rows past the end zone. You can't fear the Ducks. You can't fear anybody in the Pac-12. I think that has to change, and I think that starts this week. This is an opportunity for Oregon. You had a game that coulda, shoulda, woulda. If Cal had won last week, College game day comes to town. and everybody has their eyes on this game and everybody pays attention to this game, that opportunity's wasted. But now you have an opportunity to make people go, whoa, we should have watched this game. We should have paid attention to Oregon. We should have paid attention to Mario Cristobal. If the Ducks take care of business and blow out Cal, I think the nation says, what happened at Oregon? What is Mario Cristobal doing, and just how far can he go? I can't wait to see it. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. What is the Pac-12 missing? And what can they do to fix it? Let me know. Want your postseason thoughts for baseball? I'll tell you mine right now. My ladies Padres, they're in the cellar. They're not in it. But I grew up an A's fan. And I've told this story before, that one of the reasons I work here at 96.1, 580 The Game was I remember being a little kid with my transistor radio plugged in, listening to Oakland A's games. I grew up here in Medford. I remember listening to Oakland A's games, and I learned when I was in college that this station used to carry those games, and that this station has been carrying local baseball for forever, and I loved that about this station, and I wanted to be involved with this station. And when I read about this station being in a very bad place 4 or 5 years ago, I said, I want to fix that. I would give anything to be involved with that and to improve that, and I'm proud to have done that. And baseball just reminded me of that. But it really all started with me as a kid, just loving baseball and loving the passion of October baseball. There's nothing like it. I want to hear from you. Are you going to any of these playoff games? A's fans especially, that's an easy drive. That's a doable drive. Go down to the Bay Area, get some tickets, watch this team. Are you going to do it? 541-630-4792. And everybody else, who do you like? Who's going to win it all? Dodgers, Yankees, Stros, somebody else. Maybe the Brewers start tonight. They win the wild card. They stun the world. I don't know. Let me know. 541-630-4792. We'll talk about that next hour. Got my 5 at 5. I teased this guy at the top of the show. He is a Marshawn enthusiast. That's his official title over at California Golden Blog. Marshawn enthusiast. That amazes me that is a thing that they came up with. That's because he's a Marshawn Lynch fan. He's got some beast mode in the blood. He is Rob Huang, and he joins me at 5:30. You're going to want to hear that next hour. Rob Huang, CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. Also hosts the Bearcast. We're going to look at Oregon Cal. We're going to ask ourselves, how can Cal steal this game? Is it possible? Is it feasible? Is there something that Rob is concerned about in this game? We'll talk about all that and more. That's coming up at 5:30. Till then, 5 at 5.
Harry and David's two-day hiring event is Wednesday, October 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Thursday, October 3rd from noon to 4 p.m. This is your time to get your foot in the door with one of the largest employers in Southern Oregon. Spin the wheel and win a great Harry and David gift when you're hired. No experience necessary, and they have a great onboarding program with paid on-the-job training. Seasonal positions are available with opportunities to extend seasonal work, and there's additional seasonal pay for returning employees. Harry and David offers competitive wages, a generous employee discount, reduced bus fare, access to subsidized meal costs at an on-site cafeteria, and more. Food, fun, and jobs are waiting for you at Harry and David's two-day hiring event Wednesday, October 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Thursday, October 3rd from noon to 4 p.m. at the Harry and David Employment Center, 2800 South Pacific Highway in Medford. Join the Harry and David family and be part of a tradition of sharing since 1934. Can't make it to this two-day hiring event? Apply in person Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, or online at harryanddavid.com/jobs.
The team at Imperial Drying Company know the hard work that goes into producing and maintaining the quality of your product, so they're offering to help fellow farmers dry their hemp 70% cheaper than most local drying companies. Call or text to reserve your spot today, as they're filling up fast. Only $5 a pound. Imperial Drying Company can dry 35,000 pounds a day. Don't let your harvest mold from all the rain. And don't spend a fortune drying it. Call or text Imperial Drying Company today. You can find them on hempdryinghouse.com. That's hempdryinghouse.com. Now open in White City.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
This team made a move in March that I hated. They have a bad O-line, and they traded away their second-best offensive lineman to get Olivier Vernon. And Baker yesterday was under constant duress. And Baker's not that athletic, and he's not very big. And the good teams like the Chargers that faced him last year figured him out. Bull rush him. Hands up.
Colin Cowherd.
Weekdays at noon on 96.1 580 The Game.
Stay up late with Amy Lawrence.
New Orleans is buzzing. Whether it's the Big Easy that you call it, the Crescent City, whether you go with NOLA, the city that hosts Mardi Gras, the home of Tulane, whatever it is, now it is Zion's Zoo. And it was a zoo as he was introduced to Pelicans fans and media from all over the region.
11 at night, overnight on 96.1 580 The Game.
Morning Mayhem with Taz and the Moose.
Hall of Famer Frank Thomas, the hit dog Mo Vaughn, both join us in studio now. Your opinion, the way the game is moving on, like evolving now, baseball itself, your thoughts?
It's not as funny. And the game has gone to more strikeouts than home runs. I'm a little disappointed because I wish they would get back to getting guys that know how to hit. It's just a different game.
Weekday mornings from 3 to 6 on 96.1 580 The Game.
Mothership Madness in the morning with GA.
The NFC North has to play the NFC East and the AFC West. So they were all going to get the Cowboys, Eagles, the Giants, and Washington. So they'll all get the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Packers, the Vikings, the Bears, and the Lions. All have difficult runs in their schedule because of those opponents when they play other divisions.
Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on 96.1 580 The Game.
Jim Rome's got opinions.
The question should not be, did you see Jalen Hurts? But rather, did you forget about Jalen Hurts? Because it feels like a lot of people did. I'm not saying give Hurts the Heisman. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is give it to his coach, Lincoln Riley, and he can give it to whoever he wants. Because right now, if you're the starting quarterback in Norman under Riley, you're winning the Heisman Trophy.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon on 96.1
This is your home
for March Madness.
Back it out now. Dorsey, left wing, open three. Rolls off the front of the rim, and it falls.
KTMT, 580 a.m. and K241CA, 96.1 FM, Ashland.
Sports Flash.
I'm Jay Berman. We'll start with baseball. The postseason has arrived. Wild card game number 1 features the National League. Brewers and Nationals from D.C. They'll start in about 7.5 minutes. Interesting pitching matchup. Max Scherzer goes for Washington, the ace of their staff. Brandon Woodruff goes for Milwaukee. The winner moves on to the division series, where they will meet the Dodgers in game number 1 on Thursday. Meanwhile, the American League wild card game, of course, is Wednesday. Tampa Bay at Oakland. Left-hander Sean Manaea, undefeated since returning in September from off-season surgery. He'll get the start for the host Oakland A's on Wednesday in the wild card game against the Rays. Other news and notes from baseball. The Angels have parted ways with bench coach Josh Paul and pitching coach Doug White. That one day after firing Brad Ausmus as their manager. The Reds on Tuesday fired hitting coach Turner Ward after just one season. All right, to football. Panthers play star defensive tackle K'Wan Short on IR with a partially torn rotator cuff. His season is over. Veteran safety Mike Adams' NFL career will continue. He's signed with the Houston Texans. He had recently worked out for the team. The Giants have cut receivers Benny Fowler and T.J. Jones. That's because Golden Tate returns from his 4-game suspension. Jerry Jones says Tyron Smith will likely miss this Sunday's game against the Packers due to an ankle injury. I'm Jay Berman.
This is Ferrall on the Bench. Talk about your favorite teams and get breaking NFL news here all day, every day on CBS Sports Radio.
This is Southern Oregon's home for the Medford Black and Blue rivalry. Your local leader for sports radio. 96.1, 580 The Game.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1, 580 The Game.
5 at 5 coming up this segment. 5 takes in the world of sports. About 30 minutes away from Rob Wong from CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com and the Bearcast. We're going to talk everything Cal Oregon. I can't wait for that. This guy, I've been joking about this all show. They call him the Marshawn enthusiast. I want to find out why. I can't wait for that. 5:30 with him. Let's also look at the NFL. Let's look at Oregon State. Let's look at the wild card tonight. I love that. Baseball fan, I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. Do you watch the postseason? I ask this question, and I share the story every year. I ask that question about watching the postseason because I think about people like my dad. My dad makes fun of baseball. It's too slow. He falls asleep. My dad thinks it's a wuss sport. My dad thinks it's not tough. He just doesn't respect it. Doesn't care for it. But every October, my dad starts watching baseball. And the last couple of years, maybe it's that my dad got older, or maybe it just baseball won him over. Give it a week. Give it 2 weeks. And my dad is going to tell me to start watching these baseball games. He's going to tell me about how great the Dodgers look and how fun the A's are and how much passion Houston has. I think it started a couple years ago. It was that Cubs-Indians series where every game was tight and everything just mattered because they both had those World Series droughts going on half a century or more. And my dad was like, hey, you got to watch these games. That won over my dad. Then the next year, Dodgers and Astros, and every game's a walk-off, and he's going, did you watch this game? Did you see this game? Did you care about this? Like, when baseball wins over my dad, baseball matters because he doesn't like baseball. And I wonder how many people are out there that think like he does, where they love football, they'll watch college football on Saturday, they'll watch the NFL on Sunday, they don't care about baseball at all. But then the postseason rolls around, and they'll give it a shot. And then they stick with it because it won them over. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. We'll talk about all that and more. And also have a little fun with the 5 at 5 right here. Let's get into it. 5 at 5. I got 5 clips of audio from the world of sports. Let's start in Eugene. Ducks OC, Marcus Arroyo. He was asked about 2 returners to the depth chart. Micah Pittman, Brendan Schooler coming back. Here's what he said.
Good to have the guys that kind of had spring ball and fall camp with back in the mix. Good to see them out there. It brings good energy more as much as anything, Schooler and his leadership, and Micah being young, being back out there and having the impact he had early in fall camp, and then it was good. So our guys are excited to see those guys back moving again.
What else is he supposed to say, right? I wonder about this. You're thrilled to have Pittman back, and you love having a veteran in Schooler. I almost think it's lip service to those guys because I don't think the Ducks really need them. They know who they are now. I wonder if the injuries helped Oregon because it forced them to run the ball and protect Justin Herbert and win with play action. I think it might have helped them to be without those guys. That's just me. Brian Lindgren, he needs a lot of help. He was asked about Oregon State's play calling and why they didn't feed Jermar Jefferson on Saturday.
We tried to let him go in that game, and I just don't think he felt like he was at 100% and didn't feel like he could make cuts the way that he wanted to make cuts. And so I think, really it was his decision during the game to say, not really quite ready yet. And I think it's improving daily. I think it'll take take it one day at a time, and we'll see on the game day.
It gets back to where I started the show, talking about the Vikings and Kirk Cousins. When you pay a guy $84 million, performance doesn't matter. The price tag is more important because you expect that price tag. You expect $84 million worth of performance. Think about this with Oregon State. The Beavers recruited Jamar Jefferson. They have built a team of recruits around Jamar Jefferson. Are they using him? No. So you want to knock Jamar Jefferson, the player, but this has way more to do with Jamar Jefferson, the price. And at that point, you pin this on Oregon State. They got to make the most out of their guy. Damian Lillard, I think he's going to make the most out of this season. Here's what Dame had to say. First day of Blazers practice.
A lot of energy. Some of the changes that we made defensively, some of the new stuff that we putting in. We started with it really early. It was a high energy, physical, competitive practice. It's always like that on the first day. Everybody excited to be back, show the improvement, and try to compete for some minutes. So it was a good first practice.
That team's going to be fun to watch this year. I can't wait for that. Blazers with a lot of new, young, talented pieces. They keep the coaching staff. I like their chances this year. Wide open Western Conference. Adam Thielen, really a wide open controversy here. Everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else. This started the whole ordeal. Here's what he said after the Vikings lost on Sunday.
I think that's probably the most frustrating thing is we knew that was going to happen at some point. At some point, you're not going to be able to run the ball for 180 yards, even with the best running back in the NFL. And that's when you have to be able to throw the ball. You have to be able to make plays. You have to be able to hit the ball, the deep balls. You have to do that because otherwise it's too easy for a team to just tee up and rush the quarterback.
Way to throw your quarterback under the bus, right? Like, I get that Thielen feels underutilized, but is that how you handle it? Go whine to the media, go snipe your starting quarterback? I don't agree with that at all. I think the Vikings are in trouble this year. Again, you pay Kirk Cousins all that money, and you don't build a team around him. Not just in the play calling, clearly in the locker room. This is on them. It's not on him. I wonder how this is going to shake out. Last topic for the 5 at 5. I don't get political on the show too often. I'm going to do that a little bit. Gavin Newsom, Cal governor, talking about a rule that'll change college sports forever.
This is a major problem for the NC2A.
You obviously brought the bill here with you today. When you put pen to paper right now, what's this going to change and what's it going to do?
It's going to initiate dozens of other states to introduce similar legislation, and it's going to change college sports for the better.
SB 206. I can't wait. I hope it breaks the NCAA. I really do. That's the 5 at 5. I hope it breaks the NCAA. We'll talk about that maybe tonight. Maybe if I run out of stuff with Rob Huang from the California Golden Blogs, maybe we dive into that new law in California that might just change the game of college recruiting. But I don't know if we'll have time for that. We've got a pretty packed slate with Rob coming up in about 20 minutes. I taped a podcast with the guys at Prep Talk Eugene. I want to talk about that and point you in their direction. I also want to talk about college football, Oregon State, Oregon versus Cal this weekend, and I want to talk about the NFL. That's all coming up next. Let's point at Oregon and Cal. Why should Oregon win? What does Oregon need to do to win? And what can Cal do to stop them? We'll look at all those angles next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.
Well, you know, it's Orley Stove & Spas we both recommend. Now we told you where, let us tell you why. You ought to stop and see our friend.
Fall has arrived, and forecasters say it looks like an extra cold and wet winter this year. Now's the time to get into Orly's and beat the winter rush. Come in and see the newest models of hybrid wood stoves. Check out the new Low-Pi Rockport's revolutionary patented green start ignition option, only for Low-Pi wood-burning stoves and inserts. Starting a fire in your wood stove can now be as simple as pushing a button. Come in and discover the warmth and charm of the new Low-Pi line. Looking for gas? Low-Pi and Fireplace Extraordinaire have you covered. Gas models that heat up to 3,000 square feet. Whether you need a freestanding wood, gas, or pellet stove, a fireplace, or an insert, stay warm and comfortable this winter without those high heating bills. Orly's has over 80 models of stoves, inserts, and fireplaces on display at the corner of Delta Waters and Crater Lake Highway. Stop in and save. Receive a free ton of pellets with the purchase of any new Low-Pi pellet stove. Offer ends October 31st.
Mighty Oregon.
And he will get there's a quick pass over the middle. Nice catch. This could be a score. 10-yard line. 5. Put it in looks. Jalen Red.
Here, Duck football.
First down. Herbert back to throw. Pump fake. Look into the end zone. And it is caught for the touchdown.
Saturday at 3, the Ducks battle Cal on News Media 99.5 FM, 880 AM, KCMX.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Pharrell pulls no punches.
They also own the Texas first rounder from the deal that sent Tunsil and Stills to Houston. Trust me, they got rid of Kenny Stills because he opened his mouth about the owner. I guarantee you, the owner said get rid of him. You want to talk crap about me? I write your checks? Get him out of here. I even told you the day it happened they were going to trade him. You don't talk about the guy that writes your checks that way and not get fired or traded.
Weeknights at 7 on 96.1 580 The Game.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
I wonder about Oregon. I wonder, you got a decent game against Cal this week. Could have been bigger, but they lost to Arizona State the week before. They're not going to threaten the Ducks. A decent game against Cal this week. And then a meh sort of game against Colorado. That's an improved team. That's not a great team. That's not going to threaten the Ducks. You're 2 weeks away from when the schedule really gets tough. Washington, Wazoo, USC. I wonder if this Ducks team lulls through these 2 weeks. I wonder if they get trapped in these 2 weeks because they look ahead to the real tests of the schedule. That's what fascinates me this weekend. What Oregon team shows up? The team that killed Nevada, the team that was dominant for 3 quarters against Auburn, looked like one of the top 5 teams in college football, or the team that choked in the 4th, fell flat. The team that only scored 35 against Montana. Which team shows up? I want to hear from Duck Fan, 541-630-4792. I also had a question for Oregon State fans. I was at a loss for words after that game. I want to hear from you. Was that a moral victory? I don't think so. I think anytime you tie a team like that, You have the game in your grasps. You have them on the ropes. And then you let them march right down the field, kick a field goal, and win it. That's a stinger. That's a terrible loss. But maybe you see it differently. I know there's a lot of Beaver fans that think they didn't expect Oregon State to win a game this year. And if they did, it was just that one game against Cal Poly, and anything else is gravy. A lot of Beaver fans were pretty down about their prospects this season. Maybe you hold Stanford to 3, you win in Vegas. Maybe that's a moral victory. I don't know. But you might see that differently. I want to hear from you. I want your take on that. 541-630-4792. 2-zip Brew Crew early in that one. I think it's still in the first or second inning. NL wild card. Brewers, Nats. Who do you have tonight? Who do you like in that game tonight? Let me know. And Rob Huang, CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. We'll have him on the airwaves in about 10 minutes. Maybe a little bit more. In the meantime, I want to look at a podcast that I taped today with Prep Talk Eugene. And I think it's going to come out, if not tonight, I know you'll be able to find it later this week. PrepTalkEugene.com, at Prep Talk Eugene on Twitter. And we talked high school football for 15 minutes. It was a blast. It was, for me, an opportunity to hype up what I think is going to be the biggest game in the state this weekend. Friday night, 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock kick, North Medford at Sheldon. And it just so happens that I get to be in Eugene. I get to watch that game, and we get to air it right here, 96.1, 580 The Game. I wanted to hype up that game and tell everybody how great that game was going to be. And this got me thinking, because the Prep Talk guys, they didn't ask me about that game. And they cared about that game, but what they really cared about was Crater and Ashland. My question for you, I think North Medford has the biggest game in the state this weekend. Am I wrong? Is there a better game? Is there a bigger team right now in Southern Oregon? Crater fans, I want to hear from you. Ashland fans, I want to hear from you. Cascade Christian fans, you got some big games coming up. What am I missing here? Who's got a shot to go for a state title? Who's got a shot at legacies on the line? Let me know. 541-630-4792. We're a month into the high school football season. What do you like? Let me know. Rob Huang coming up in about 10 minutes. We're going to talk college football. Also want to talk NFL tonight. I'll say this. Last Wednesday at Abby's, same place I'll be tomorrow night, Abby's Pizza, last Wednesday, I said the Titans were going to get rid of Marcus Mariota. And I thought you have a quarterback that he's dealt with a lot of injuries. And when he's not injured, he's not winning a lot of games. And I thought they're going to cut their losses. They're setting themselves up for the future. They're going to move on. I don't think it's the right decision, but it was something that I could just see coming down the pipeline. And at least for a week, I'm happy to be right. Happy to be wrong about Marcus Mariota. 7 touchdowns, no picks. Looks great against the Falcons. Happy to be wrong about Marcus Mariota. Gets back to what I said at the start of the show. I don't need my quarterback to be a baker. I don't need precision. I don't need the guy that always sets the oven at the right temperature for the right time and bakes the perfect cake. Give me the guy that he's got the cast iron skillet and he's got some meat and he's got a flame and it's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. Things are going to break down. Things are going to get chaotic. He's going to serve my food. I'm going to eat it, and it's going to be good. Doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good. Marcus Mariota can do that for me, and I'm really excited for him this season. I hope that he proves me wrong, and I hope that he proves the doubters wrong, and I hope that the Titans go far with him. I really do. 541-630-4792. What do you think about all that? You rooting for Mariota this year, or would you rather see him somewhere else? We talk about this every week in the NFL. I think it's valid with what Chicago's going through right now. You lose Mitch Trubisky, but you might have a better guy in Chase Daniel. Or what the Panthers are going through right now with Cam. You lose Cam Newton. You get a quarterback that steps in that statistically he's better. I don't know if he's better on film, but he's better on stats. Change can be really good for these NFL teams, bringing in new quarterbacks. Colin Cowherd talked about it today on our airwaves, noon to 3, about how these guys are coming into the league younger but smarter. They're coming into the game younger but more mature, more developed than ever before in the NFL. And I think that to spurn that, to spark that growth for some of the older guys, a Derek Carr, a Marcus Mariota, a Mitch Trubisky, the best thing might be to let them go. Send them somewhere else. Now, I've said before, Mariota in Pittsburgh just makes perfect sense to me. And maybe the Titans don't move on from him because of the cleanness of his game right now. 7 TDs, no picks. But maybe they do. I hope it's the Steelers or the Raiders or somebody that can maximize his skill set. For Derek Carr, I hope it's a team like Chicago that can maximize his skill set. For Mitch Trubisky, I hope it's a team, say the Chiefs or the Eagles, that sits him down as a backup and reconstructs his game and gets him on the right track. I really believe we could see a lot of change and a lot of good things from quarterbacks in free agency this year. Could be a boon of a free agent class for quarterbacks. I want to hear from you. Who would you sign? Who would you want? Let me know. Rob Huang, California Golden Blogs. He's going to join me in a couple moments. Let's see what I have here. What can I kill a minute with? You know, I got one. Abby's Pizza. I'm going to be at Abby's Pizza tomorrow night, 4 o'clock till 6. And I talk about the pizza every week, and I talk about the beer every week. Their fried chicken is the bomb. I got some fried chicken and spuds the last time I was at Abby's last week. Delicious. That's what I'm going to have for dinner tomorrow night. I'm already looking forward to that. I hope you come out and join me. We're going to try to give away some T-shirts again. We're going to reach for some good interviews on Wednesday. Already had one person call me and say, hey, I want to be at Abby's tomorrow night and get on the airwaves with you. I can't wait to tease that tomorrow. And I just can't wait for going out there tomorrow. Abby's Pizza, 1080 South Riverside, 4 p.m. till 6. We're going to do another live episode of Southern Oregon Sports Talk out in the community. I hope you join me. Going to have a lot of fun. And we'll talk about that as well at the end of tonight's show. Get you ready for that. Kind of an idea of what I have in store. But next, I've got an interview with Rob Huang. Rob writes at CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. He hosts the Bearcast. And I got a lot of questions heading into this Oregon-Cal game. I don't think Cal is on even footing with the Ducks. I think this is a super winnable game for Oregon. They should be the favorites in this game, and they might blow out Cal in this game, but I've only seen one team. I haven't seen Cal this year. Can't find him on Pac-12 Network. Can't find Pac-12 Network. I haven't seen Cal. Maybe I'm not seeing things the right way. And so I'm going to bring on a guy from the other side, Rob Huang, and see what he has to say. That's coming up next right here. Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580, The Game.
Harry & David's two-day hiring event is Wednesday, October 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Thursday, October 3rd from noon to 4 p.m. This is your time to get your foot in the door with one of the largest employers in Southern Oregon. Spin the wheel and win a great Harry & David gift when you're hired. No experience necessary, and they have a great onboarding program with paid on-the-job training. Seasonal positions are available with opportunities to extend seasonal work, and there's additional seasonal pay for returning employees. Harry & David offers competitive wages, a generous employee discount, reduced bus fare, access to subsidized meal costs at an on-site cafeteria, and more. Food, fun, and jobs are waiting for you at Harry & David's two-day hiring event Wednesday, October 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Thursday, October 3rd from noon to 4 p.m. at the Harry & David Employment Center, 2800 South Pacific Highway in Medford. Join the Harry & David family and be part of a tradition of sharing since 1934. Can't make it to this two-day hiring event? Apply in person Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, or online at harryanddavid.com/jobs.
The team at Imperial Drying Company know the hard work that goes into producing and maintaining the quality of your product, so they're offering to help fellow farmers dry their hemp 70% cheaper than most local drying companies. Call or text to reserve your spot today, as they're filling up fast, only $5 a pound. Imperial Drying Company can dry 35,000 pounds a day. Don't let your harvest mold from all the rain. And don't spend a fortune drying it. Call or text Imperial Drying Company today. You can find them on hempdryinghouse.com. That's hempdryinghouse.com. Now open in White City.
This is a cow whose milk became everyone's favorite cheese at the craft fair. But cheese only lasts so long. The impression a small business makes needs to last much longer. And now Vistaprint is introducing free shipping on all business cards in any quantity. Choose from hundreds of fresh designs tailored to your type of company, or upload your own. The choice is yours. The time is now. For a limited time only, get free shipping on all business cards in any quantity with promo code 9393. That's promo code 9393 at Vistaprint.com. Vistaprint. Own the now.
12th man.
Second down and 5. Murray tries to snap it on swing. It's intercepted. Clowney. 20, 15, 10, 5. Hello, Mr. Clowney. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Thursday, hear the Seahawks.
Johnson stays in the game on 2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz, and Murray goes down. Michael Kendricks like a shot.
Thursday Night Football, Seahawks and Rams on 96.1, 580, The Game.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1, 580, The Game.
Hey, everybody. Matt Bagley back with you. Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW here on 96.1, 580, The Game. Got about 30 minutes till I sign off, wave off, and get on a seat on my couch and try to watch the rest of that Nats Brewers game, get wrapped up in playoff baseball. But I can't just focus on that tonight. I also got to keep an eye on the future and keep an eye on what might be the biggest game of the weekend in college football. I mean, certainly there's a lot on the line. The Ducks got to win this game, right? Oregon, Cal, Saturday on our sister station News Media 880 KCMX. And I had the chance at talking to some Ducks people today. We had Joey Mack on yesterday. Probably going to grab an Oregon writer or two this week. But you know, Oregon fan, you know what's going to go on from their side on Saturday. I wanted to look at the other side. So I have Rob Huang from CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. He also hosts a podcast called The Bearcast. He's an expert on Cal. Rob, how you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
It's my first time on radio, so this is going to be interesting for me.
Oh, wow. Hey, I got to have some fun with you. Let's just start off with this. I do a lot of work with our SB Nation sites locally. Adam at Addicted to Quack and the guys that cover the Beeves at Building the Dam. I'm pretty familiar with your layout. Like what I'll do is I'll click the masthead on your homepage, and then I'll look up like what these guys do, what their titles are. You guys blew me away because your site refers to you as a Marshawn enthusiast. What is that?
I mean, once they changed the masthead settings, we took some liberal changes to it, changing out the editor and the writer and names like that. And this was actually before I joined the site, but they changed it all up to have it something to do with Cal. And you see the Javid Best one, you see the Marshawn enthusiast one, and it's just you don't really see it unless you click on the masthead. But it's just a fun thing for us just to have, like, when you look on the staff directory, you'll see all of us with these different things, and it's kind of hard to figure out who does what, but you kind of get a feel for it after you look on the main site and see what they're writing.
Now, I'm a Raider fan, so I know how the Silver and Black views Marshawn. We love him. We just go crazy for that guy. How do Cal fans feel about him?
Oh, I mean, he's a living legend. He's on the Jumbotron for like pump-up things in the middle of the game. He's around. His store is down the street on Telegraph. Sometimes when you drive by, you'll see him playing ping pong outside of his store.
Wow.
With his family. He has a restaurant here down the street from where I live. You'll always see him there as well. In the East Bay, I think that he's an awesome guy. Does so much for the community as well.
Chatting with Rob Huang from a Cal SB Nation site. That's CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. He also hosts the Bearcast podcast. Great name. Rob, looking at this game Saturday, from your perspective, what should Oregon be concerned about?
Concerned about? I mean, the star of our team right now has to be Evan Weaver. 19 tackles ahead of the next guy up in the total tackles column. He leads the country. He was the leading tackler coming back to start off the year. He does everything. He's the heart and soul of that defense. He actually might be the heart and soul of the team. As a perfect reflection of how head coach Justin Wilcox wants to run the team. And you see it through his interviews, his demeanor when he plays. If you go back and watch the post-game conference from the Arizona State game, they pretty much act like mirror images of each other. And he's definitely the guy to look out for, number 89.
Yeah. You mentioned that Arizona State game. Were you surprised by that score?
I wasn't as too much surprised as all long-suffering Cal fans have known. There are times where we get too high and then reality comes back to haunt us. But, yeah, I mean, overall, the narrative of the game didn't really go our way either. Our quarterback goes out towards the end of the second quarter. That puts in Devin Modster, who's thrown into the fire. The run game, I think, averaged under 3 yards a carry when he was put on. So it wasn't really conducive to seeing a backup quarterback enter who was uneligible to play for 3-4 weeks. So he doesn't have the reps with the first team. And it just started spiraling down, and it ended up where it ended up.
Yeah. How does the quarterback change what you guys do?
I think for the coaching staff, it doesn't change much. It's they've always run with the next man up mentality from the first day they got on campus, and it's going to stay that way. The only thing is you have a transfer quarterback who just came in and was eligible starting the Ole Miss game, which was 2 weeks ago. How quickly is he going to be able to adjust to the play calling, the playbooks, the read? I'm sure he's up to date with the playbook, but getting his repertoire down with the wide receivers and just the little tiny things like that help a quarterback succeed. And, with 1 week to prep, granted we have the extra day since it was a Friday game, it's going to be tough for him to do it. But at the same time, he's a junior transfer, so you kind of hope that he's been there, done that, and is going to be able to pick it up fairly quickly.
Talking with Rob Huang from CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. He also hosts the Bearcast, a great source if you are a Duck fan and you want to scout the enemy this week, learn about Cal, check it out, CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com and the Bearcast. Rob, you mentioned that Friday game, and every time a beat writer or a college writer mentions those Pac-12 Friday games, my ears perk up because I cover high school football for a living. I don't like those Friday games at all. What do you think about them?
I'm not a big fan at all. And, Cal's made a big effort to try and get attendance a little bit higher. But if you're putting games on Friday night when a big target crowd that you could look at is the high school crowd. Those, I was talking with my co-host Andy Johnston about it, and we basically said, if you're taking that opportunity away, not only are you taking away guys that could potentially play for you down the road,
right,
and families that could, support the team, but you're also taking away future fans. The 16 to 18-year-old demographic, could end up enjoying themselves at Cal games and, become the 50, 60-year-old Cal fans that you see on the website, and become old Blues. So it's just one of those things that I get the TV deal aspect of it, but I prefer my college football to be on Saturdays.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Give me the college football on Saturdays. Give me the high school on Friday nights. Rob Huang, my guest from CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. Rob, you mentioned earlier about how Justin Wilcox is getting players that just fit his system perfectly. What about Coach Wilcox has impressed you?
I think he loves the sport of football, and he eats it up. And he's so, passionate about every win, every loss, every play, every player. And you can clearly tell that from any time you interact with him or if you watch any of the press conferences with him. He just bleeds football. And that's definitely better for us from a writer perspective, too, when you ask him questions about what did you see here, what did you see from the tape, and there's that tweet that's been pretty viral this week about Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans explaining to the reporter about the 4 deep and stuff, and Coach Wilcox does that all the time. And for me, as a person who's constantly wanting to learn more about that side of the game and the X's and O's, it's awesome. It's awesome to hear that, and he's more than willing to sit down and talk to you if it's about football. So those are the type of guys he wants in, guys that just want to play football, love the game of football, and clearly he's done that so far.
That Watson interview is fascinating to me because if you're not familiar, anybody listening wondering what we're talking about, Deshaun Watson, Texans QB, is asked about a certain throw that he made against a certain coverage, and he just goes off. And he's not like mad at the writer or screaming at anybody. He doesn't do the LeBron thing where he turns the mic off and storms out. He just instructs the guy and teaches him about NFL defenses and spends a whole minute regaling about all the X's and O's and all the nuance there. It was fascinating to me. You got me on a tangent, Rob. If, let's say you have a ray gun and you can point it at anybody in sports and get them to talk like that and open up and be honest with the X's and O's, who would it be?
I mean, in terms of just pure football, I think the easiest argument there is Bill Belichick, right? I mean, the guy's been winning for God knows how long.
Right. That's a great answer.
Brain on that would be fascinating.
Oh, man. Yeah, I probably have to go Belichick, too, not just because you want to learn from him, but because you finally get him to open up after all these years.
Pretty much, yeah.
Also, I got to ask you about Marvel. Because I have this thing that I do. I learned this from a radio station in Portland of before they interview somebody, they read their Twitter. And you pinned a tweet talking about how you were late to the party on the Marvel movies, which made me laugh because I'm the same way. I like a couple months ago, I just watched all of them. What was that like for you?
Well, I mean, for me, I watch all those movies when they come out in theater. But I decided, with Endgame coming out, I wanted to rewatch all the movies in chronological order and just have that fresh in my mind. And I took a few weeks before. We had already purchased our Endgame tickets.
Okay.
I just a few weeks before decided, you know what, I think I'll try and watch one a day. And then granted, there were some days I gave myself some leniency, so I could skip a day or two. But yeah, it was great. I love watching those movies over again, and I picked up a lot of things from watching those movies. When I went into Endgame, was like, I didn't realize that throwback. But if I hadn't watched those movies in advance, I probably would not have picked those things up.
So you binge all the Marvel movies, you rewatch them. What was the best movie that you rewatched?
Oh boy, I'm a big time Captain America fan. So I'm gonna have to say Winter Soldier or Civil War. Those two movies always get me, and I can always watch it. If they're ever on TV, you see it on Fox every once in a while or TNT, for USA, and I could just sit there and watch the Winter Soldier, just without even thinking about it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm right there with you. I thought this when I watched Civil War. This is probably like 2 months ago. I watched Civil War, and I thought, why isn't every movie like this? Of just take Captain America and take Iron Man and take all these comic book heroes and put them in the same damn movie and let them fight each other. That was awesome.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's as a kid who used to read those comic books, it's holy crap, seeing that come to life.
Right.
And, especially in Endgame, too, in that final sequence, like, Lord, it's just amazing to see how much, like, your nerding out has grown to this mainstream part of culture now. So that was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, nerds rule now. Rob Huang, he rules over at CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com and the Bearcast, great podcast. Duck fans, you want to scout the enemy, you want to learn about Cal this week, give Rob a read and a listen. Rob, before I let you go, what's your expectation Saturday?
Well, the Vegas spread started at 15.5 and I think is now at 18 to Oregon. And I tweeted this out. I think that's the perfect opportunity to come out and punch an unsuspecting team in the mouth.
Right.
But Oregon is going to be very well prepped. They took 2 weeks to prepare. They had the bye week. Cal's coming off a reeling loss. And I think the guys are going to come out pretty fired up. But having 2 weeks of prep versus a backup quarterback who is only going to have 1 week of first-team reps is going to be a tall task for the Cal offense, who has already struggled this year. S&P Plus puts them at 98. Oregon's at 45. Defensively, Oregon's at 4. Cal's at 25. So, statistically, it's not boding well for the Bears. But I don't think the spread is going to be what it shows up on Saturday. I think the game's going to be a lot closer than you think. But my mind is telling me it's probably still going to be an Oregon win, just albeit maybe under 10 points.
All right. Rob Huang, he thinks the Ducks are going to win, but it's going to be close, and Cal could punch him in the mouth. Could, the key word there. CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. Check it out. Read about this Cal team. Listen to what Rob has to say about him at the Bearcast. And, Rob, I'm really grateful that I got you on today, and I hope you have a lot of fun watching football on Saturday.
Yeah, thanks. You too. I appreciate the time.
Awesome. Rob Huang, my guest. Let's wrap up the show next. I want to get back to the Beaver loss to Stanford. Here's my biggest criticism of Oregon State. That's coming up next right here. Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.
Do you have missing, failing, hurting, or broken teeth? Premier Care Dental is here for you with caring professional dental care. We accept most dental insurance plans, and our new patients without dental insurance receive a free exam and x-rays and a choice of a crown for $690 or an implant for $890. For continued savings throughout the year, ask about our in-house dental savings plan.
My initial visit to Premier Care Dental was prompted from a radio commercial, and I went in for a free checkup. I was very impressed with the entire operation at Premier Care Dental. They are the best. Over the course of the last couple years, I've had crowns, implants, and regular maintenance utilizing their in-house dental savings plan. I highly recommend them.
Thank you, Jim. We love hearing from our patients. Call Premier Care Dental at 541-708-0600 for an appointment in Ashland, Medford, Grants Pass, or Klamath Falls. That's 541-708-0600. If you call today during normal office hours, we will see you today. Guaranteed. Visit PremierCareDentalCenters.com.
Westwood One Sports is the exclusive home for Thursday Night Football. Hi, this is Ian Eagle.
And this is Tony Baselli.
Join us each week as we bring you prime-time NFL action.
Premier matchups, top players, vicious rivalries.
The best of the NFL each week. If it's Thursday Night Football, it's right here.
Your radio home for Thursday Night Football. 96.1 580 The Game.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I was sensitive to lights and sounds, so I built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. Sometimes I do the same things over and over, until one day I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
After Hours with Amy Lawrence.
If they get Jimmy Butler, I fear as though the fragile chemistry in the Rockets locker room will go even further off the deep end. I can't even imagine putting a Jimmy Butler in that mix. He's combustible. He's a great player. He's an alpha male, though. Can you imagine him and Chris Paul and then James Harden?
11 at night, overnight on 96.1, 580 The Game.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1, 580 The Game.
I was thinking about this Friday night. I was in McMinnville for a high school football game. One of my favorite things about this job, they send me all over the state. One weekend I'm in Bend, one weekend I'm in Medford, one weekend I'm in McMinnville, wine country in the Mid-Valley. And it was a South Medford game at McMinnville Friday night. And you don't have to be an expert on South Medford. If you read the headlines in the paper, that's just about good enough. There's two names they talk about every week. They've got a mobile quarterback who can scramble, doesn't have a cannon for an arm, but if you let him get outside the pocket, he can burn you. And they have a wide receiver who is quick and fast, Austin Boster. You hear his name all over on the radio highlights that we play because he always breaks free for a big play. And you would think that these high school football coaches, whose job is to scheme and coach and prepare their teams, would look at Austin Boster and go, okay, we have to double team this kid. We have to align our coverage to stop this kid. He's good. He's fast. We cannot let him break free. And what happens Friday night? 3rd and 22. The quarterback scrambles out. The quarterback finds an open receiver, wide open, and it's Austin Boster. And I'm like, how did that happen? How did a coach let that happen? And it seems like it happens every week. And I take that mentality and I apply it to Oregon State right now, where you have something that seems obvious and the coaches miss it. Like, it seems obvious. Jamar Jefferson is the best young running back in the Pac-12. Maybe the best running back. Forget the young. He's the best running back in the Pac-12. He puts up gaudy numbers. He's got a great vision, and he's got moves when he gets in space. He's the best running back in the Pac-12. And you're going against a Stanford team that, what did they show you on tape? Oregon can smash them. Oregon out-physicaled, out-muscled, out-blocked them. You can run the ball on Stanford. And you have a great running back. And you have this very strong running game. And what do you do about it? You have this thing that's totally obvious staring you in the face, and you go in a completely different direction. That's my biggest criticism for Oregon State right now. Jamar got 4 carries on Saturday. They got down early. And I know that they ran the ball and they came back late, but if they had stuck with the run at the beginning of the game, I think they would have won that game. I think they stared the simple, obvious game plan in the face and they ignored it. And that's a problem for Oregon State. That's why I say I don't know about Jonathan Smith going forward. He's a nice guy, great personality. Is he a head coach? He's a nice guy. He's a great personality. Is he ready to lead a Pac-12 program? I don't see it. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. Text me. Tell me your take. I'll be honest. I haven't gotten any texts tonight. No text messages tonight. And I think part of the reason is everybody's glued to the NL wildcard right now. Brewers and Nats going on. I don't blame you. I've said this before about baseball. You can look at the NFL. You can look at hockey. You can look at basketball. You can look at soccer. And you can look at baseball. And the best sport in person, by far, is baseball. The best experience is a live baseball game. I don't know how well they capture that on TV. I think it's more exciting in the playoffs than it is in the regular season. But just on experience alone, that is must-watch tonight. Brewers and Nats in the NL wild card. It's interesting because my A's don't play till tomorrow. But I'm really interested in this game because I want to see if it stays close late, what sort of impact will the Nats bullpen have, good and bad? And if it's close late, Brewers don't have Yelich, will that hurt them? Will they lack in the clutch? Right now, it doesn't matter. They're up 3-0, bottom third, no outs. But I want to see if the Brewers get a little down in this game, how do they change? How do they react to it? 541-630-4792. A great interview with Rob Hwang from California Golden Blogs earlier tonight. Let's wrap up on the NFL. And you know what? I gotta say this. I gotta have my point here. I think some people are asking why I haven't talked about the Devin Williams story. And I'll do that right now. I'll get this out of the way. I don't like talking about this side of recruiting, but this is a young man that the Beavers reportedly signed him and announced the signing and had him as a transfer from USC. 5-star guy, all the talent in the world. He gets to Corvallis. They take a picture of him. They put a press release out, and then he takes a flight back to L.A., and the next day comes out on Twitter and says, I'm going to Oregon. And Duck fans went nuts, and Beaver fans went nuts, and everybody fought each other over this. I don't like talking about this because I think this is the rare situation where no one's at fault here. Oregon State tried really hard to win over this young man, and they impressed him. But Oregon's the better team. Oregon's got a glimpse at a Pac-12 title this year. Oregon's got the prestige in the last decade. He wants to win. He wants a clearer path to the NFL. He wants to go to Oregon. That's okay. And I can't really fault him for doing that because he's 18. And because I don't think it's fair to judge a kid for changing his mind. That's how I see it. That's why I haven't hit that subject too hard. I just don't see the meat on the bone there. Maybe you do. Maybe you feel differently. 541-630-4792. Text me your thoughts. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm at Abby's tomorrow, 4 o'clock, and I'll stay there till 6, and I'm going to chomp on some fried chicken, man. I'm going to have a good time. I hope you join me. Abby's Pizza, 1080 South Riverside. See you there.